Welcome back, designers. Welcome to another session of our logo design class. In the last class, we saw what the logo is and the different types of logo that we have. We also saw the qualities that makes a good logo. Now, in this class, we'll be looking at real life examples of great logos that have shown us what branding looks like. In this part, it is important because you begin to see how designs connects to emotion, memory, and the meaning that they give. Every great logo has a reason behind it. It is not just a random drawing or a cool drawing. It has a meaning behind it. It speaks something. It speaks something that connects to the emotion of the audience. Also, in this class, we'll be doing a little bit of practical, so sit tight as we continue. Now I'll tell you something that most people don't recognize or most people don't realize. The best logos are simple, but they are smart. They are not all about complexity, trying to draw multiple shapes, trying to make it look ambiguous. They are very simple, but they are smart. They might look easy to draw, they might look easy to even recreate, but every line, every curve, every color is carefully chosen to say something about the brand. Let's look at a few examples together. The first example is the Apple logo. You all have seen the Apple logo, that clean apple with a bite taken out of it. Now, here's something interesting. People often think the bite is there so you know it's an apple, but not a cherry. But it represents knowledge. You remember the story of, like the story in the Bible, the story of the Adam and the Eve, the fruit of knowledge. Apple wanted their logo to stand for creativity, curiosity, and innovation. Notice how simple it is. It is very simple. Just a single color, one clean shape, but it's recognized everywhere on the planet. Everywhere you see an apple with a bite by the side, you know it is apple. You're talking about Apple mark. That's the power of simplicity. It's not about adding multiple colors, adding multiple shapes, drawing big and different shapes that makes the logo fine or makes the logo stand out. It is about simplicity. It's about making it unforgettable, something that stick in the memory of the people. Let's go to the second one. The next logo is the Nike logo. Now, the swoosh might be the one of the most famous logo in the world. Of course, it is the famous logo in the world because many people, not everybody, the majority have the Apple product like the Nike. The Nike is on clothes. The Nike logo is on clothes. It's on footwears, and a lot of people get access to that even than Apple product. It is even more popular in the sense that there are a lot of piracy that still put the Nike logo on it. It looks so simple, just a curved check mark. That's all. Looks so simple, but it represents movement, speed, and victory. It was actually inspired by the wings of the Greek goddess Nike, the goddess of victory. That's actually where they got their inspiration from. The lesson here is a great logo doesn't need to be complicated. If it communicates your message instantly, it's doing its job perfectly. That's the essence of logo, that it communicates your message instantly. And guess what? The Nike logo was designed by a student for $35. Now look at that. Now in Africa, in Nigeria, in some part of the world also, especially in Africa, we think that when we do something very, it based on the people that we work with. When we do something very fine before they can get impressed. Now look at this. Now the logo was what, $35, as at more than a century ago. And you find out that the logo is actually worth it, because even after decades and a century, it is actually still connect with the heart, connect with the mind of the audience. That shows you that you don't have to be a big designer. You don't have to be a big designer to create something great. Now, this is not something very complex. It's not too much of a hard thing, this thing. And even now that we have AI, actually there's a lot of help for you online. But this logo, from this logo, you find out that also that simplicity is power. The same thing with the Apple, the same thing with the Nike. That is one thing I want you to keep it at the back of your mind. Simplicity. Strive for simplicity, not trying to create something complicated or trying to impress at whoever and creating something nonsense. A logo is something that connects with the mind, connects with the people, and communicates your message instantly. Once it's not in that circuit, then it has breached the prerequisite, it has breached the terms of logo creation. Example 3 is the Coca-Cola logo. Unlike Nike and Apple, Coca-Cola logo is not a symbol, it is a wordmark logo. It's all about typography, the beautiful script letter that feels friendly, classic, and full of energy. And you understand that red color is actually means energy. Red color actually means energy, and it adds excitement and passion. Even though the logo have barely changed in over 100 years, it is still fresh. It is still very fresh and powerful. That's because it connects emotionally. It reminds people of joy, celebration, and togetherness. The logo actually is not necessarily word that is trying to you find out that even Coca-Cola being stylish, it is still very readable. Not trying to create something that looks more like something that cannot be even seen. So when you are creating a logo, you find out that also this logo meets with the term simplicity. Simplicity, I've said this simplicity 3 times now. When you are creating a logo, you must watch out for simplicity, and also the color choice is also unique. Imagine using black here. No, black works for tech companies like Apple, like Nike, like Apple, like how would I call it, like X, like companies that are actually tech inclined. That's where black works for majorly. It works in other parts too, but majorly is for tech company. You don't use the black for a company. This company, for example, this brand is a brand that produces soft drink. You don't use black. So you must understand that colors are important, and also if you are using wordmark, the font you are using is also important. It must be readable. That actually connotes simplicity. So let's go to the next one. The next one now is the Google logo. Now the Google is also another example of a simple logo, just the company names in bright colors, but there's a smart trick behind it. The colors follow a pattern. You see the colors follow a pattern: blue, red, yellow, then suddenly the last one is green. The last color that they have there is green, or the fourth color is green. Why? Because Google wanted to show that they don't follow rules. They don't follow rules in the sense that if you are creating a logo, According to the logo terms, you must use not more than 3 colors. But you see Google bringing the fourth colors, trying to explain that they don't follow rules. They are creative and unique. It's a small details, but it tells you something about their brand personality. They are smart, it's fun, and they are different from others, and this logo speaks truly about them. I remember when ChatGPT and other AI apps come in, Gemini came up much later. A lot of people said, this is going to take ChatGPT is going to take Google out of the market. ChatGPT is going to do this to Google, it's going to do that to Google, it's going to do this, do that, do this, do that. And I kept on looking at them at that point. I said, Google is smart though. Google may look silent, but they are planning something. And all of a sudden, they came out with Gemini. And if you look at Gemini, you find out that Gemini is actually the smartest of all AI. Like, Gemini has embedded in it what ChatGPT has, embedded in it what Perplexity has, embedded in it what Grok has. It has a lot put together. In fact, when it comes to creating realistic photo, Gemini, it's the best. It's the best. It's the best. So that's the same thing. You look at Google. Google is telling you that they are different from their logo. It shows that they are different, but note it also does not cross the boundary of simplicity. Now let's go to the next one. Now here is a clever one. Amazon. Have you noticed that small arrow under the word, or do you notice the small arrow under the word Amazon? It goes from A to Z. It is not just there for decoration. It means Amazon sells everything from A to Z. And look closely. The arrow also looks like a smile. Yeah, it looks like a smile. That's their hidden message. Happy customers. You see that every logo actually has a meaning. Everything in a logo actually have a meaning. That's what a great logo does. It says a lot without a word. That's what a logo does. And you also see that it does not crosses the boundary of simplicity. It is simple as every other logo, but every other great logo we've seen, but it is actually communicating the message of the brand even without what. That's what every logo you create, both for your brand and for your client's brand, should actually do. Now let's go to the next logo. Next is the McDonald's logo, MC Donut logo. Now let's talk about a logo everyone knows. A lot of people knows this logo, and if you do not know the logo, here is it you say. McDonald's, the big yellow M, also known as the golden arches. It's bright, it is bold, and stands out from far away. The color yellow is known to make people feel cheerful and hungry, while red create excitement and energy, like I told you when I was talking about Coca-Cola. That's why fast food brand love using either yellow or red. They make you feel good and hungry at the same time. If you make your research today, I want you to do a research today, go and look at food brands. Once you are done, look at food brands and check their logo. You'll find out their logo revolves around red and yellow. Red and yellow. Red and yellow. It's just a few of them
that you find out that they now try to add white or another color, but majority is red and yellow. Though some try to also add green, but a majority uses red and yellow. And now same with the MC10 are now using a yellow color because they actually deal with something that people take in. That is what, and that's why McDonald uses their logo is trying to express, not just with the letters now, but with the color, trying to express what they represent. And you see that again, it is also a simple logo. Is the Mercedes logo. Now the Mercedes is actually a famous logo. This way car, a lot of people wants to use Benz. This is now their logo. Mercedes-Benz has a famous 3-pointed star inside the cycle, and this star, each point represents one represents land, the other represents the air, and the other represents sea. The company's dream is creating all three engines that work on the air, engines that work on land, and engines that work in sea. I'm very sure that some of us who used to think that Mercedes-Benz Mercedes only produce engines that work on land, but no, they produce both engines that work in planes, engines that work in jets, engines that work in ships, and the like. So they are three facets. They do food for land, for air, and for the sea. It's elegant and minimal and strong, just like cars. Now you find that I told you that simplicity is power. I've been saying this from the beginning of this class, and you find out that also this logo is another example of a simple logo. No too much drama, no drama at all. It's just simple context representing the brand, projecting what the brand is about. Explaining the logo to you like this, now you understand why everything in the logo is there. You understand why it is doing there. That's the same thing you also think of when you are creating your logo. Now, having seen a few examples of great logos, let's do a recap of what it teaches us. Number one is that simplicity wins. The best of logos are simple, they are easy to remember, even at a quick glance. So simplicity is one thing that you must take note of when you are designing a logo, whether for your brand or for your client's brand. Number two is that every detail has a meaning. The color, the shape, or even hidden space. Nothing is random. Everything has a meaning. From the logos that we see, you saw how every detail that is on the logo actually meant something. Number three is consistency. Consistency builds recognition. This brand has built their logos for years and they are still iconic. They still resonate with the modern day world. So when you are creating a logo, you must be very futuristic in your creation. You must not use trends. Let me just say that quickly. You must not use trends, because trends come and go fast. And once the trend goes fast, your logo will go with the trend that you created it with. So you must use something that is built to last, something that can go into the future. And lastly, emotions matters. A logo should make people feel something: trust, excitement, or joy. And this has to do with the kind of shape you're using, the kind of icon you're using, and the kind of colors that you are using.
Now, the last thing we're seeing here on this part is that great designers don't just copy what looks good, they study why it works. So you must understand what makes this logo powerful. When you understand it, what makes them powerful, you can now start designing your own with purpose and confidence. Now the next thing we are moving to is the practicals. Now the next thing we are doing is that we will be working on the practicals, but let's start by knowing how to open our CorelDRAW. I know some of us know, but I don't want to believe that, I don't want to assume, let me not say believe, assume that everybody knows, so I'll still show you anyways. I can come to my search here and click on CorelDRAW. Once I click on CorelDRAW, I would click on this. It brings it and it opens. I'm going to show you two ways of opening. This is how to open it literally without using a shortcut. Now you see that it's opened. Now let me show you the second way of opening it. The second way of opening it, let me close it. The second way of opening it, I'll click on Window R. Once I click on Window R, it brings me a prompt. It brings me a box for me to actually run the task. And you see they wrote here that run. Type the name of the program, folder, document, or internet resource, and Windows will open it for you. Now I'm just going to type CorelDRAW. Now, but the difference here is that I'm not going to add the A. It's going to be CorelDRW. CorelDRW. Once I strike enter, it does the same thing as opening my CorelDRAW interface for me. So let's wait for it to open. I believe that yours too is open now. So let's look at what we have here. You see here we have recent files. All these things you're seeing here are recent files, and this plus you have here is if you want to create a new document. But let's not go there first. Let's do this. Let's check files. On the files, so we have the new which keyword shall call this Control N. We have the new. If you want to create a new document or a new project, we have new from template. That if you want to use the existing template that CorelDRAW makes available, but most of the time it is all nonsense, so you don't bother using it. We have open. If you want to open an existing project that is not found on this interface, now we have open recent. Now this open recent also is the same thing as here, but the difference is that it has more options than what we have here. You find out that here we have 1 to 9, we still have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Unlike here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's all. And here we have more options, and then we also have document manager. If you want the same thing here, if you want to open and you want to save, but why the save is faint here is because we don't have a project open. Then if you want to close off, for example, you are working on some project and then a project, and then you don't want to close the program, but you want to close the project and return to this interface, that's what you would use. And then here we have acquire image. It is faint here because we are not working on the work. When we get there, we'll look at some of them, and then we have tools. Now you find out that my interface is dark. I believe that yours was not so when you installed
the CorelDRAW. So if you want to use a dark background, let me show you how to actually use a dark background. Let me show you how to use a dark background. Now if I click on tools here, you see options. There are several options here. There's customization, there's tools, there's workspace. It's just to customize your work. But let's go to customization. If I click on customization, is it, yeah, customization now, and you see I can either, if I put it on light, you see how it is. I don't like this view. If I put it on medium, you see it's still kind of light. If I put it on dark, you see how it is. If I put it on black, you see how it is. So I will just use black. Now you find out that your interface is dark. Now this gives you a feel of the Photoshop interface. But let's continue. We have Windows, and we have help, but we're not doing a lot here. Let's just go to a new document. If I click on this now, it brings me an interface that shows what the name of the document I want to create. I can just type logo design class or course class. Let me use class. Okay. Hey Jesus, I just clicked on enter. I just opened. Let me go back. Click on logo design class, logo design class, and then I can custom. Now it is always best to use custom. You can use RGB, you can just best to use custom, because custom makes you use every option that's available. Now they said number of pages, I just want one. Now you find that they say page view. Now this page view, let me just give you an example. This page view is, if I click on this, let me give you an example. We are coming back here. Let me copy this. If I click on this and I say, okay, let's say, let me use page, they only just one page, and I click on OK, it opens. And when I click on plus, you find out that the pages are on different faces. If I draw something here, for example, and I come here, you see it's not here. The pages are on different distance. But in the other one, let's go back. In the other one, if I click on this and I click on OK, when I'm creating page, you see there's no demarcation. Are you seeing it? There's no demarcation. So depending on what works for you best. But now let's go back there. I'm going to just use this, and then you see we have different size of paper. But I'm going to just custom. Let me change the name. I'm going to custom. I'm going to first of all use inches, and then I'm going to use 10 by 10, and then the orientation, this is either portrait or landscape, but this does not work since we are using a square size. Now we have resolution. Always keep your resolution at 300. The resolution is the 300 is the 300 dpi is the best, is the highest. Let me show you something. If I use 72 for example, and I click on OK, by the time I'm designing something, let me just do something. Let me just draw a box for example, and just do something. Click on this, click on red, let me do something, and then let me just do anything. Just click here, and then come here with this, and then let me have something written. I'm just doing that. I'm just doing anything. Let me now reduce this. Okay, let's go back. I think I have something I want to get. I do like creating nonsense. Okay, and then come here, click on this, and then also reduce. Come here, click on this, and also reduce, and then kind of write something in the middle. Here we are. Follow me. Oh, I know you're still looking at what am I looking. I'm just trying to give you an example or something why you should use the best resolution. You should use 300. Now let me put it here. Now if I decide to use white, for example, and then I remove all the outlines and I export, don't worry about all those details, you're going to know them as we go. I'm just trying to show you something. If I come to where my file is saved, let me go here and see where it is saved. If I now open it, let me look for it. Yes, this is it. If I open it now, you remember that it was on 72 dpi. You find out that it is clear here, but let's try zooming it. Now let's zoom it. If I'm zooming it now, I've picked my zoom tool and I'm trying to increase. You find out that when I got to this point, you see that the letters, the shapes are becoming blur. That's because I used 72 dpi. Now let's go back and use a higher resolution, which is 300, and let's see what it will give us. I'm going to cut this from here and I'm going to close this, and I'll create a new listing again. Let me just use untitled, and I click on paste. Oh, sorry, I didn't change the resolution. Let me go back, changing the resolution. I'm going to come here and change the resolution to 300. So I change 300, click on OK, and I paste. Now let's export and see. You find that the same thing that I created before, and I think let me export it as logo design class 1, and then click on export. Let's see the difference. Now I'll go back to where I opened it from, because I said now this is the second one. When I click on it and I open it, for it to open, it has opened now. When I click on the zoom tool and I drag to, you see that it becomes clearer than before. You see that the zoom level is more than that of before. You find out that the one at 72, you cannot zoom it beyond this level. I see it. It cannot go beyond this level. But you find that the one at 300, you can zoom it. You see, this is not even the entire zoom. Are you seeing it? That is why you should use the 300 dpi resolution when you are creating a project or a work. Now let's go back to our CorelDRAW. Let's close this. We are done with this. Now let's open the work proper as we begin to look at shapes and some other things. When I click on this now and I click on OK, the settings are already there. The only thing I have to do is to name the class, because if you don't name it and you leave it at untitled, your document will carry untitled, and then if you keep having several untitled, you might miss out which one. So you should name your project with what you are doing it. If you are doing it for a client, name it with the client what the work is. Now logo design class is what or let me just say logo design, and I will click on okay. Now my design is not even correct, but let's continue. Now this is the interface. I said I will be looking at shapes and the interface. Now there are several interface here. We cannot learn all of them in one class. You cannot learn all of them. I'm just trying to give us basic here. I thought about file. I've thought us about no, I'm not talking about edit, view, enhance, and but that's not where we are going today. Let's just click on the shape. Now you see this from here to here. What we have here is called the shape tool. The shape tool. If I click on view now, if I let me look for okay, how would I say? It's not it's called the toolbox. I mean to say, if I click on this and I click on this, you see the toolbox is removed. If I right click again, click on view and click on the toolbox, it's back. Now you see this is called the toolbox. This whole package, this whole place is called the toolbox, and this is what we use in working the most. Now let's dive in to see some of the tools. Let's take example. Now the first tool we have here is called the pick tool. Let me for example, let me look for the image of a logo that I designed, and let's work with that. Okay, this one copied. Let me paste it. Now this logo now is here. If I want to move it from one, if I click on this now, I can't move it with this. I can't move it with this. But if I click on this now and I want to move this object, I want to move this picture from one place to another, I can now click on it like this, you see, and I can move it with the shape tool. However, in this shape tool, there are two kinds. When you click on this other down arrow here, you find this freehand pick. Now this freehand pick is actually not good to use, because if you are trying to highlight something, you see, you cannot highlight correctly. So once you have this kind of error, just come back here, click on the arrow and click on this pick tool. Now if I have another box here and I want to select the two of them together, I can just use the pick tool to highlight and I can move there. You see that? That's what the pick tool is literally used for. Now this one is called the shape tool. There are several tools here, but we cannot learn all of them. But let me just talk about the shape tool. If I draw a particular box, for example, and I click on this shape tool, and see, once I click on the shape tool, when it was picked, it was like when I click on the shape tool, you see it, I can transform the tool like this into a circle. You see, transform it like this using the shape tool. Now that's not all the work of a shape tool. I can decide to now convert to curves. There are several ways to convert to curve. I'll just show you one here. If I right click on the shape and I click on convert to curves, you're already from where you can get to already. The second one is Ctrl Q. The other way, so click on convert to curve and I click on the shape tool. You see that it's not the same way. I can convert this into something like this. Are you seeing it? I can change the dimension of the, you see what I've created using the shape tool from a box. See what I've created using the shape tool. That is what the shape tool does for you. The shape tool helps you transform your tool. That is what the shape tool is for. Now let's go to others. We have, I'm just trying to show us major tools that we'll be using here. We have the rectangle tool. I've used it before. Now if I want to draw a rectangle, I can just draw freely, but if I want to draw a perfect square, I will have to hold my control. Are you seeing it? But now you see that the control makes you draw a perfect square just to the side where your mouse is moving, your cursor is moving.
If I want to draw it to every part, I'll have to hold my shift now and control. You see, both the place, you see it is actually moving. That is how to draw a perfect rectangle. Now under it we have this 3 point, but most of the time we don't use it. Then we have the ellipse tool. Ellipse tool, you see this an ellipse, you can draw an ellipse like this. If I want to draw a perfect shape, if I want to draw a perfect circle, I can also hold my control and see my shift makes it. That is what the ellipse. But mind you, once you click on, once you want to know the shortcut of any tool you are using, once you click on the tool and hold it for a while, you see it brings you the keyboard shortcut for rectangle is F6, the keyboard shortcut for ellipse is F7, then the keyboard shortcut for polygon is Y. We have polygon tool that helps you draw different size of shape. Now this is 3, we can draw a triangle. I can decide to increase it to 4, 5, 4, 6, 7, 8 as I want. Now the shape tool also does something for you. If I click on the shape tool, you see the edges. If I click, you see what the shape tool has done for me. Now that is the ellipse. Now this is a very important tool in logo creation, the text tool. I can now click on it and type. I can type what I want. This is the house of the Lord. Now, what if I want to change? Okay, let's not go that way right yet. But this is actually a shape, the text tool. Let me change the font. Let's do something. Let me change the font. Let's say I have a bold font now, and I want to write. I've written. I mean to say, and let me add a little bit of effect to this. I can make this white on white background. You see, it's not seen. What if I want to make it seen? I can decide to use the shadow tool. This is the shadow tool. Now I click on the shadow tool. Let's do something, and I click on small glow. You see that it is visible a bit. Now let's change the color of the background of the glow to something else. Change it to black, change it to red. Okay, let me use black. Now you see that even on white background, though it is not visible yet, let me increase the size of this one. Now on white background, even on white background, this is visible. This is the house of the Lord. Now that is actually an effect. It is the shape tool effect. Let's look at some effect also again. I'm just trying to introduce you to the shapes. I'm trying to introduce you to this now. Okay, let's do something here. Let me create something here with this box. Now this is a box. Now let me show you a very funny logo I saw online. It's actually of a bank in America, but if I tell you how much they used to do the logo, let me create something, or let me just create the X logo. Let me create the X logo for you. Should I create the X logo? What should I create? X logo. Now let's create the Opera Mini logo. Let's create the Opera Mini logo. Now many of you know the Opera Mini logo. Let's do it now. Follow me. You see, I click on the rectangles, the ellipse tool. Now in case you have something like this and you want to go back to your screen, you just click on Shift and F4 and it's here. Now I have the ellipse tool. Now I will draw with my ellipse tool a circle like this. A circle like this. Now I'm going to remove the fill, and I'm going to add color to your outline. You would right click on the color that you want. The outline is the line, the color of the line. If I right click like this on the color which I want, and I click on select or set outline color, you see
my outline color now has a color. I mean, say now this is a circle, but not a perfect circle. It's an oval. Now if I click on this, and then you see, I would, if you have a mouse, what you would do now is you would draw it like this to this side. Come in, let me show you what I'm doing. Click on this edge and draw it. Then, are you with me? Then right click, then you drop it. Once you right click, you drop it. Let me do that again. Click on this, draw. Once you get to the point where you want it to stop, right click. Now we are here. We are trying to create an Opera Mini logo. Now some of you might not get it at first. You can always come and rewatch and also get it, or backward. You can only, because this is the premiere right now. And once I right click now, and this one now, after doing this, then the same thing, I'm going to right click, I'm going to draw, and then once I draw inside, I'll right click. Have you done that? No, let me do it again. Let me do it properly. Once I draw inside, I would right click and I have this. Have you gotten there? Now you use your arrow key to move this. Move this to the edge like this. Once you can, okay, I think it's too much at the edge. Let's leave it here, and then we would have to now draw this to meet it. Yes, something like this. If you've gotten this, and then you move this one down, this one there down. If you have gotten it, you're almost there. You can move this one up to, wait, this one now, move it up a bit. If you have gotten it, you are almost there. If you are there, then we'll go to the next thing. The next thing is that we'll click on, come to this. There's this tool on the last part. Holy Spirit. There's this tool on the last part. It is actually referred to as the interactive fill tool, but underneath there is an arrow. Click on the arrow, you will see the smart fill. I would have said you should use shortcut, but the smart fill does not have a shortcut. When I click on the shortcut smart fill, it brings me something like this. Are you with me? Something like this. I'll click here, and I will click here. If you have done, let me do that again. Click on the smart fill. I'll click here, and I'll click here. I'll click here. Once you have done that, then you click on this one, the first one, hold down your shift key and click on the second one, and then you cut it. The keyboard shortcut for cutting is Ctrl X. So if you have done that, then highlight this all and delete. You don't need it anymore. Then the next thing is you would paste. Once you paste what you have, if you don't have this, if you don't have exactly this, you can go back to what we have done and watch and do it step by step till you get it. Then the next thing I'm going to do, I'll click on this and I will click on I'll click on this. You know, down here we have a tool called interactive fill tool. The keyboard shortcut is T. I will click on this. Now, mind you, from after the first one, within the keyboard shortcut, I'll click on this. Or before then, color the shape, the two of them, color it red, and remove their outline. Color it red and remove their outline. Now, let's now do the final stage that makes our logo look exactly like that of Opera Mini. Let me check something. Now, the Opera Mini logo is that simple. Now, let's do something. I'm going to click on this. Once I click on this, I'm going to click on this on the interactive filter. And once you click on interactive filter, it brings you an interface like this. We are using the second one here, or the third one here, fountain fill. Once I click on it, you see it now, this one that has white now, I'll click on it and color it black. Once I color it black, I'm going to bring this arrow down. Are you seeing it? Yeah. Then I'll click on this one. What's the keyboard shortcut again? I told you the keyboard shortcut is G, so instead of going down there, I'm just going to use G this time. Once I click on G, I'll click on this again. Yes. Now, this time, I'm going to click on this part and make it red. And then this part, I'm going to click on it and make it black. And like I did for this one, the other one, I'm going to move this one not down now, but up. You see that we have, okay, let me do a little bit of adjustment. Now we have the Opera Mini logo, but we are not done yet. There's one mini by the side. I'm going to click on my rectangle tool and I'm going to draw a rectangle here. I'm going to draw a rectangle here. Once I draw a rectangle here, the color for that rectangle is green. I'm coming. I think grass green. Let's use grass green. Grass green. And then you find out that the edge, some of the edges are curved. Now I told you about shape tool being able to transform your tools, but now look at what we will do. We are not using this edge is not curved, this edge is not curved. It's just this edge and this edge that is curved. So I'm going to click on this. You click on this, then hold your control and click on this one. Okay, your shift, I mean to say, click on this, hold your shift and click on this. Have you done that? Then move it upward like this. Let me do it again. Let me do it again. I would click on my shape tool, click on this, hold my shift and click on this and move it this way. Then I can now pick my pick tool and then type here. Let me type me. What's there is mini. And let me see the font that is used. You're just going to use something. Let me use something that everybody would properly have. Look for let's use Arial,
because that is what almost everybody have. Arial, yes, use Arial and then bring it somewhere here. Arial, your size that you'll be using now will be based on what is fitting your shape. Now this is Arial. Now you see that we have the Opera Mini logo. The Opera Mini logo, here we go. So that is just an introduction into the class. In the next class, we'll be seeing a lot about real-time logo design. I'll be creating a real logo. Thank you. I'll see you in the next class. Don't forget this, that when you are creating a logo, simplicity must win. Simplicity is actually a very vital tool in creating a logo. See you in the next class. I remain your tutor, Mark Oluwambo. Thank you.